What's up everybody, how's it going, and welcome to this episode of Car Rant. Today, we're putting in a subwoofer into the Eclipse. So this is our SSL LoPro10 subwoofer. This is my first attempt at anything like this, so if you got any suggestions for future stuff, comment section down below. But I'm very excited to get started on this one because this is an underslung subwoofer. It's kind of its own complete self-contained unit that would sit underneath the driver's seat. Yes, I'm putting this under the driver's seat only because the driver's seat actually sits higher than the passenger seat in our RS model. But yeah, let's go ahead and unbox this. I'm gonna rattle my car with that much power. Nice. This, I believe, is the mod controller. Yes. It's actually really well packaged. For something I bought on Amazon for 100 bucks, that's not bad. Cool. Got a user manual. Boom. A big face. Very nice. It's got its own setup up top here. This is really cool because it's extremely self-explanatory. Now, I will say, because this is going to be important for me and might be for you, because this has no actual rubber feet to it, we're going to have to actually generate our own form of rubber feet because we don't have an interior. Our car has a completely stripped carpet because unfortunately it was molding and we just didn't feel like trying to deal with that. So we're going to have to find some felt pads, set it up so it doesn't knock too much, maybe even go with foam pads. But this is going to be really simple. It even comes with some of its own wiring. The speaker in. Yeah, this is going to be very easy to handle. This should wire directly to my head unit, so that'll make life extremely easy. These are some more screws, most likely bracket screws for this guy, and obviously for that, but we're going to figure that out later. We're going to see and figure out how to put this together, and then we're just going to bring the Eclipse into the garage and get started. So, car is here in the garage. We're going to actually get the hood opened up so we can wire our power line. We're going to basically set up the remote switch from the actual head unit to power and control the subwoofer. Once that's in, that will allow us to basically tell when the thing needs to turn on, if that makes sense for you guys. We're going to route a ground line that stays underneath the car, pretty much underneath the chair, because I'm actually putting it under the driver's seat since, you know, most of the time it's just me in the car, or when my brother gets this car, it'll be just him in the car. So once that subwoofer is in, we will basically start the fun, easy part, which is the RCA connections. We actually got a kit from our local AutoZone that basically has everything you're going to need to set up this kit, and it's actually pretty straightforward. This is the kit we're going to be using. This is an amp install kit, and the reason why we're using an amp install kit is because this SSL subwoofer has a built-in amp. So it makes it very easy to just wire everything straight to it. There's no extra wires needed. This has the RCAs we need to route from the back of the head unit to this particular subwoofer. It'll also allow us to connect an inline fuse and help us get our ground connections made perfectly. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be simple. I'm looking forward to this because I miss having bass. The one benefit to having a sedan like the Evo is that you don't necessarily need a subwoofer, but it could always use one. In a car like this one, where the windows are down most of the time, yeah, you lose a lot of that low end due to wind noise or the fact that it's just not an enclosed space. Subs do work better in an enclosed space. So having this inside the car underneath the seat, which is an enclosed space, will help amplify that sound. So it's going to sound really nice. All right, so this is the contents inside of our amp kit box. This is for how many watts? 100 watts? For ASO to 100 watts. Perfect. We don't need a whole lot of amperage in this, but hopefully it's enough to carry the power. The key thing is it comes with everything you're going to need to set this up. Right here, we got our power line. This is going to go directly to the battery. We're going to route it through the car to right underneath this seat. That way everything is very easy to access. All you have to do is just unbolt the seat and it's there. Already comes with a blade fuse, which I'm going to go ahead and install. We have the remote line. This turns on the amp every time the head unit is turned on, which is basically when the key turns over. This is a shroud to help keep all the wires together. This is your speaker wire in case you actually needed to route it to an external one, but we're not going to need this. This is a little redundant. Set that to the side. Don't remember what this is for, but I'm pretty sure there's a reason for it. I believe this is a static power line, but I'll have to look again. This is the RCA for actual signal. And this, I believe, is just a very heavy gauge wire. Yep, this is the ground for the actual head unit itself. And when I say head unit, I mean the actual SSL. So we'll have to strip some of this, get a couple connections made so we can actually mount this to the bottom of the car, get this all wired up. It's very tedious stuff, very straightforward. The wires are prepped. I actually routed the red power wire with the fuse in line. It is now all routed through here, through the door, so that it can then be tucked later on into the lower door frame, pop out right here, and go underneath the seat. We've actually gotten the stereo head pull out. It's resting up against the shifter right now. We were able to just unbolt the sides, pull them out, and then actually unbolt the head unit from there. We now have the RCA plugged up. I want to make sure that that remote wire actually is going to function before I fully solder it, so we'll recon the battery, disconnect the battery again afterwards. That way we can either solder it and then seal it, or get some crimp connectors and make that work that way. Everything else is set. Decided I'm going to keep the base unit for the power like right in that area back there. Now I can control the amount of base by the knob that's on the side. And yeah, now the fun part begins. I gotta take the seat out, pull all that up, and then bolt this guy to the floor. So the seat is out of the car, out here. It's still attached by the wire for the seatbelt sensor. And because of how much of a headache it was to get off the first time, we're just gonna leave it on, just kind of leave it like this. It's propped up, we're good to go. Now, you might notice, because this is ultimately where that SSL is going to end up, kind of a narrow space, and we're not exactly rocking tall seats, you know, things are kind of going to be in the way. So, if it's supposed to go there, what are you going to do? We're going to be getting bucket seats for this, and not just any kind of bucket seats where it's a stiff back. We're still going to get tuner seats because ultimately, John, my younger brother, is probably gonna end up driving this thing as a daily car because it's gonna be more fun than a normal car. That's just a fact. In the meantime, I'm driving it more as a daily car than my RAV4. So, fun fact. The reality is when we get the tuner seats put in here, we're actually gonna go ahead and then bolt it to that section. Otherwise, for now, it's going to lean up against this chassis brace known as the rear bench in this car. Now, in case you're wondering what I mean, that is exactly what I'm talking about. It's going to lay completely up against this. That way for now it'll sit there, we'll get some good audio out of it. It'll still have the same effect, might rattle a little bit, so I'll put the rubber mat back on the floor, but otherwise that's pretty much how it's gonna go down. All right, everything's plugged in. I'm gonna pull up an old video of ours because, you know, what better way to test it than to use some of your own videos. Hey! If you remember this, you're an OG. That's awesome. This is the fun part. It's kind of working, but you can tell there's a power draw because the audio quality went down as we got started. So I'm gonna mess with some of the preamp settings on the back of the amp. This is something I did not show you the first time. There are a number of little knobs here you can then set up the pass and phase for. I'm gonna try this in a secondary phase. I'm going to replay the clip again, adjust the gains. Gains are set to half, which works for my system because it needs the power. Now we're going to watch the same intro clip with sub. Not really. Wait for the bass drop. Yeah, we got power now. Let's go. And with that, the car is done. It's really hot, which is why I'm like coated and drenched in sweat. But we've got it in. We've got it done. Sounds great so far. And I say that because I'm actually gonna go test drive it now. Judge how it sounds once I finish putting together some of the interior, putting that all back in. Because as is, it sounds good in a stationary car with no extra help. What's it gonna sound like with all the mod work that's been done to this car and we're at speed? About to find out. So guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been driving this car for several days now. Just tooling around town, going to the car meets, driving in the rain, testing it out against a ton of different styles and genres of music. And the SSL LoPro10 has been an awesome upgrade for the car. I didn't think we'd be this early on into season 8 and already be doing like a product review. But I gotta say, for $155, for all the pieces that I would need to install this setup, it's really good. It's extremely good. It's it's 100% worth the value that I spent to get it. This isn't a sponsored plug or anything like that. This was something that I genuinely felt like I wanted to add to the car, because when I have the windows down all the time because there's no AC, I need sound, I need music. I'm a musician, I'm a lover of music, and being in the car without music, it doesn't feel right. So being able to just mob around at highway speeds like we're doing right now and still have good bass and not lose it with the windows down, yeah, that's impressive for 155 bucks. All in all, highly would recommend getting this, because I can mob my beats all day and not have to worry about a thing. I can just be sitting here cruising to Percival to go see my friends out that way, or mob out to Chick-fil-A and be bumping beats the whole way, you know, listening to Kanye or Ed Mineo, and feel completely comfortable knowing that I'm not gonna blow my cones because I'm not trying to push the sound too hard to get that bass, and it sounds good. It's not disturbing my neighbors. I even did the sound test where I had the bass cranked to max, walked away from the car a little bit just to see how loud it would be, and found that it was actually extremely tolerable. If not, you couldn't even hear it over the car's own exhaust. But all in all, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know this isn't like a normal little, hey, we're doing a car build thing, let's you know, let's do the car build stuff. I know this is more of a product review, but hey, if you're watching this and you're looking for something to add to your car, this might not be a bad option for you, especially if you're not trying to be one of those people who just try to ball out and get like a $9,000 subwoofer amp system with cooling tubes in the back. Like, at one point in time, that was the thing. But for myself, as someone who's a lover of sound and not just noise, like, I didn't need that. And if you're like me and you want good quality sound where it all complements together and the bass isn't overbearing, this is going to be definitely something you want to look at, because it's just polished, posh, pristine, clear. It doesn't muffle or get muddy. It's great. It's excellent stuff. But with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time. God bless and peace.